Hey everybody, it's time for another Chainwax Podcast. This is number 22. I'm going to be starting my training program here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and going to be doing some testing on some new chains and a few other things going on. So this podcast will be a little bit different. Here's a scene of some of the areas I ride. This is just like cross-country stuff. Right now it's very green. This is exactly the weather we have. This partly cloudy, and it's really a great time to start. The weather's nice. Everything is green. It's not really dusty yet, and you can get a lot of miles in without all the fatigue from the summer heat we have out here. So I'm just starting my morning out. I've already had some juice and doing my coffee with some mushroom blend. Got all these different mushrooms in here, basically for the immune system boosting for winter time. So when you train, you deplete your body, you actually make yourself pretty susceptible to getting sick. And I do the mushroom powders in the coffee. My girlfriend got me that coffee mug there. Has pineapples on it. Pineapples are also good for recovery. The bromelain, I do that after the ride. And yeah. So we're going to start out just the way I did it. I don't know. It's been quite a while. It's around 2014 is when I broke my leg. And that when I was recovering, I did the full like Tour de France training schedule. And along that way, I did the nutrition, I did all the sleep changes, and the health benefits I got from it are something that I never got to that level in my life before. And it's funny how it took me getting a broken leg to push myself that hard. Real quick note, right now we are out of stock on the wax applicator tool, so I'll be giving out a free one. It's a little different. It's yellow. It actually works really well. It may even work better than this one. Well, I'll be giving those out. I have been giving them out since Christmas, by the way. All the Christmas orders, you probably got a free brush. So anyway, wanted to make a note of that for people who are ordering. You'll see it sold out, but you'll still get one. So don't let that stop you from trying the product. So I'll just be doing a lot of XC miles the first few weeks. There's some rough spots here and there. There's some extra spots you can do, kind of the black diamond stuff. There's just a few areas out here with that, but mostly it's just XC riding. At least what I consider XC riding. So it's good training. I'll be doing about an hour and a half at a time first week, and then slowly bump it up to 2 hours and more. So, what happened with my broken leg was I didn't want to use any pain medicine at all. So I was in the hospital for about 22 days, and they had me on morphine from the time they took me in the helicopter to the surgeries. And when I got home, I realized that, that really did a number on me. And so I wanted to go fully health, the full health direction as opposed to the pharmaceutical direction. And I just started doing all anti-inflammatory foods. So that's something that helped out tremendously. And the pineapple, the bromelain, I really was doing about a quarter of a pineapple a day, juicing it and using smoothies and stuff. And that helped out tremendously, along with just a low inflammation diet in general. So, along the way, I discovered a few people to listen to their nutrition advice. I had been studying nutritional science since I was about 18 years old. And, this was taking it to the next level. By eliminating all the anti-inflammatory foods in my diet, I realized I was about two things away from being vegan. So I decided to quit dairy, and that was it. I just had to quit the dairy, and I was pretty much there. So I tried it for 4 days, and I felt so good. I did it for the rest of the week. which became a month, which eventually became 8 years. So right now I'm back to doing more vegetarian diet, but during the training, a couple things I discovered was I was following what the Tour de France guys do, that level of road cycling. I was watching what they do, and as far as their sleep schedule, their diets, and things like that. And at some point I discovered beet juice very early on, back in like 2015. And I started doing beet juice in my smoothies and beet juice in my juices. And that stuff gives you the ability to train hours on end and not feel any pain. So the nitric oxide, I think it's nitric oxide is what it creates in your blood. Basically, it delivers more oxygen to your muscles, and you can train harder and longer and not get tired. I was seemingly had endless energy with this beet juice. I was only doing about about a half a beet a day in the morning in the smoothie, and if I was juicing it, it'd be more like juicing the whole beet in a juicer. But the nitric oxide that goes to your muscles, not only does it get you through the training schedule and all these intervals and holding steady power for X amount of time, all these sorts of things. I had programmed in my computer, I'd start an interval session, start holding certain watts for X amount of time, and it made that painless. But the other thing was that there was no recovery. Like it didn't take any time to recover. I just got up and I would come home, do the pineapple smoothie with other greens, lots of greens, lots of chlorophyll. So we'll get into that in a minute. But so I would do the recovery smoothie on the way home after the ride, and on the way home I would have it in the car ready to go. And then get plenty of sleep and do it all over again the next day. It was seemingly very easy with just these small dietary changes, just the addition of a juice and smoothie before the ride, and then a recovery smoothie, plenty of sleep. Those three things really enabled me to to train like a Tour de France level rider. And I got in such good shape so fast that it kept me motivated to continue to do it for many years. So this is what led up to me, developing the chain lube, to be able to have a chain lube that kept up with my schedule. And that's really what it was, is there was really nothing out there that was working for me. Even though I had gone to wax dipping chains, that became a chore. And, I hadn't mentioned it before, but I was buying at least 2 and 3 chains per bike on my training bikes. My main mountain bike at the time, which was an SB 95 29er Yeti full suspension mountain bike. That was my main bike I rode back then at this point in the training for the mountain bike stuff. I had 5 chains for that bike. One for every day if I was doing the training on the mountain bike that week. And, it just becomes a real chore. And I lost chains on the mountain bike. I don't think I ever lost a chain on the road bike. But I did have a chain come apart just cleaning the bike one day, just with a rag on the bike. Like, oh, the chain fell apart. Good thing I found the quick link. And you know what happens when that quick link comes undone and you're not prepared for it. That little link goes flying across the room like a slingshot. So that's actually happened to me. I don't know which bike it happened on, but, the whole thing about taking the chain off is a real problem. And, anyway, back to the training stuff. So, yeah, just adjusting your life, sleep schedule, your diet, just small dietary changes is all it took to get started. It was very easy. And along the way, I found some interesting people to listen to, like Rich Roll had just started his podcast. And early on, he was really focused on the nutrition. And, I was doing what I call like a superfood diet at the time as well. So everything was organic and everything was like superfoods, like just, everything you can imagine. I mean, I just, blueberries and kale and all kinds of stuff. Just salads that had all these, arugula in it, just as much greens as I could get. And that would be the chlorophyll. And once I studied the chlorophyll molecule in detail, I couldn't believe how important this is. This is like a supercomputer nanotechnology going into your body, these chlorophyll molecules. It's basically light transformed into energy. Chlorophyll is probably the most complex thing you can eat. The benefits are amazing, and it does help with recovery, helps with training, and it helps with your overall health in general. Chlorophyll is so underrated, and it's funny how almost no one's talking about it. But along the way, Rich Roll, he had some people on like Dr. Zach Bush. These are early on his channel if you want to look him up. But Dr. Zach Bush is the guy who really is the expert on the effects of what Roundup does and the glyphosate and how bad it is for you. And then, of course, when you start doing these sorts of training things online, you're going to get a lot of feeds from other people like that Durian Rider guy. Now, Durian Rider, he's a vegan and he's like more of a fruitarian. He's got the high sugar intake diet. And, that didn't appeal to me at all. But what did appeal to me was a well-balanced diet of superfoods that included a lot of chlorophyll. And I don't see any chlorophyll in Durian Rider's diet, And for some reason, he popped up on my feed again recently, like in the last 3 or 4 months. And, he's much younger than me. He's probably, I would say he's in his early 40s. And he looks very old now. Really, I haven't seen him in maybe 5 or 6 years. And that high sugar diet, he looks like he's in his 50s. He looks very old now. It's very, very apparent that the high sugar fruit diet is not too great for anti-aging. This is why I say that chlorophyll is so important. It seems to be a superfood on another level. So the chlorophyll, I just typed it in. The first thing that came up, you can get it liquid, but I think it's best to get it from things like, I used to use a lot of parsley, spinach in the smoothies and juicing, kale. The dark green leafy vegetables have it. You can see some of the benefits it says there, It says here, neutralizes body odor. Well, one thing I noticed is that I barely need deodorant at that stage in my life once I got all cleaned up. It was quite a nice side benefit. But very early on, one thing I noticed was this chlorophyll molecule compared to the human blood molecule. And you can see they're virtually identical. It's just a couple of things different. The center of the chlorophyll molecule is magnesium, where the center of the blood molecule is iron. And it's almost identical, like 90% identical. And basically you're giving your body the food it needs to create the blood cells. You're giving your body the fuel, directly what it needs to create new strong blood cells. And so the plant chlorophyll, just this picture alone, should sell the whole idea. When I saw this about 10 years ago, I couldn't believe it. Like, how come nobody's talking about this? So that's why I thought I'd bring it up. It's definitely a big part of my training, and I got stronger and faster than I've ever been in a very, very short time. Like, we're talking 3 months, I was a different person. Even when I was a kid here, I was about 14 here, I think, racing. This is the NBL Grand Nationals. Back then I just rode all day long. I just rode 8 hours a day. If I wasn't in school, I was pretty much on my bike after doing homework, of course. But I just rode all day long, did the jumps, did a lot of sprinting, built a start gate in my backyard, I trained that way. I trained on the bike and did some weights back then too, now that I think about it, but it was mainly just a lot of riding, lots and lots of riding. And so this like Tour de France type training schedule, which I just basically use the Carmichael training systems that you got with Strava, with your paid Strava account. You got a free training schedule that emailed you a plan for the day the night before. So you would get up, you would pick a training program. Like I would do like the 45-minute climb program. That was a favorite. I did about at least a half a dozen different ones. But, you know, back when I was a kid, it was more like sprinting, jumping, doing, you know, the races. These tracks were about 45 seconds long at the longest. So I would do 45-second sprints. That was basically my training. So on a road bike and mountain bike, it's a little different. You're really going for hours and hours. The training's totally different. And the cardio that you get with that is next level. So I was no stranger to working hard at it, but this method was totally different. And, you know, the relevance to the Chainwax thing is it really showed me how bad the chain loops were out there. I couldn't get the chain loops to get through even a whole ride. Being a 200-pound guy, climbing these 10% grades all day long and more, some of them are 15 on a road bike, you would just burn through the chain loop really quick, putting that much power through it. You're just squeezing it right out of the chain. So that's what got me, you know, to really push the mountain bike stuff as far as I could, and eventually came up with the 5311 formula that solved all those problems. And then we have the Darkmatter as well. And the Darkmatter really does work so well on e-bikes. I mean, you won't feel the chain at all on your e-bike at all. And that's the shot bottle there. That has 16 ounces plus in there, so it's equivalent of 4 bottles. Basically, you buy this, you're getting a free bottle, is what you're getting. And we're throwing in the free brush. All the shot bottles are going to come with a free brush from now on. So I have to update the site to reflect that. And well, anyway, if you're this far in the podcast and it's new, I hope you give it a try. It is the best chain loom in the world. And it took me doing a Tour de France level training schedule to be able to develop this. That's the relevance here of it. But back to the health thing. I had mentioned Rich Roll and Dr. Zach Bush, and that really convinced me just how important organic is, and trying to be as organic as possible, you know, at least 90%. Give your body the energy to repair itself after training versus just, you know, fighting off the damage in the food, the damage that the food causes itself. So counterproductive, you know. And then after a while, your taste buds, I can't even eat a regular blueberry anymore, like a conventionally grown. I can taste the chemicals on it. It's kind of annoying, but then again, once you know, and you wouldn't want to do that anyway. So it is hard buying organic now that everything is so expensive. But one thing I did notice also is that eating 100% organic, I ate less food. I actually required less food. Once I got my system super clean on the inside, I didn't need as much food to sustain that level of effort and training. And like your body was processing, getting more out of the food than regular conventional food, which is very depleted in vitamins. So these organic foods that are higher in vitamins, eventually you need less of it. And I found that my grocery bill was about the same. It hadn't changed at all dollar-wise. And of course now with inflation, it's probably twice what it was back then. But it wasn't any more than buying conventional food. So, you know, developing the product, we overcame a lot of these problems that other wax-based chain lubes have run into. One is the freezing. Right now it's winter. Most of these products freeze. It causes the product to separate, the emulsions to break. Ours has overcome that by design, and ours doesn't have any emulsifiers or lots of water. The ingredients on this one is 75% water and emulsifiers. Well, that's not chain lube. So it became apparent to me that that was the problem. They're just approaching it from a different point of view, maybe the standard point of view, what you would learn if you were studying Lubrication 101. And I just took it from a different point of view, and I touched on other technologies.
Y'all know what it is, okay? Have either the two of you, have you ever said the words in context? Us? He talking to you, man. He ain't talking to me. Hey, man, it's not our fault that you ain't never put that on there.
Just love that skit. Key and Peele. Classic. So anyway, yeah, that's a quick summary of how we got here. I mean, that's how this went down, and that's why I really do think, by the data alone, that our product has put everything else, it is basically everything else is obsolete. Everything else is still requiring you to clean your chain. Everything is requiring you to either take the chain off or use a degreaser. Ours doesn't need any of that. And my chains have been on my 2 trail bikes since 2023, but prior to that, they went on in January of 2020. Did 3 years. January 2023, I changed them. I've never taken the quick link off once on any of my bikes. The daily drivers, my 2 trail bikes, Yeti SB 4.5 and a 5.5 that I switch back and forth on. Those are the ones that get the big miles and the big training miles. But all my bikes, my downhill bike, my dirt jumper, none of them. The quick link, I never take it off. I never have to worry about it coming undone from bouncing around out there. And that's just something that in itself, when you eliminate that step from your bike maintenance, that's a huge, huge step all in itself. It saves you so much time. So I think that'll wrap it up. I think if you've tried it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Most people that email me say they're not going back to whatever it was. They thought whatever they had before was the end all be all, probably because of marketing. I don't have a huge marketing budget. This is my little tiny podcast, my little one-take podcast on my $250 phone or whatever it costs. It's not about marketing for me yet. I'm hoping to change that sometime soon. This year is going to be a big year for us. But I think most people that have tried this realize I get enough emails every week that I know people are getting this. It's a slightly different application technique. The bottles still come with the little blue brush because you can actually use that on these thinner formulas to push it in. These first three are very thin formulas compared to the Darkmatter, and the 5311 is a little thicker too. But originally it started out an artist brush, and I found these very affordable brushes to give away with the bottles. Back in 2019 at Sea Otter here, GMBN, you can see they have an artist brush in their hand there. It's one of the smaller artist brushes, but this is what I used myself personally. Was a little, I think it was a little 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch artist brush. And so now we have the new applicator brushes, which make the process so much quicker and easier. And my thinking was, well, why not actually have a dedicated tool for applying chain lubes of any sort? So you know, I had been using the little brush on my synthetic blends I had created 20 years ago. So I've been doing this brush thing for about 20 years as opposed to a rag. And it worked just perfect for the Chainwax application. And so I thought at some point, why not have a special tool made? And it was very expensive. So I found a company that has this 3-headed brush, and it worked out just well. Very, very well, to tweak it a little bit to facilitate the angle of the chain. Worked out great. And you know, very affordable. Finally have a dedicated tool for putting your chain lube on as opposed to a stupid rag, which, you know, the rag gets dirty. You're actually wasting a lot of chain lube on the rag as well. And I said it before, but anything that's left in these bristles gets reliquefied upon application of the next chain lube you add. So our product reliquefies itself. That's still unlike any other product on the market. Now, I'm going to get into some of the things they're hinting at in the next podcast, but we are still the only alcohol-based chain lube out there. I invented alcohol-based lubricant for this outdoor use. Basically, I've never heard of any alcohol-based lubricant, period. But it was a perfect medium for mountain biking. Dries fast, doesn't attract dust, pH neutral, bunch of good things about it. And it helps get the lubrication down into those tiny crevices. Alcohol is very thin. Alcohol doesn't have any surface tension like water does. So it actually helps penetrate, versus water. It's the last thing it wants to do is find its way down a small crevice. So I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Try one of the products. I think you'll be very happy. And we do have t-shirts for sale on eBay. And I'm just selling them for what they cost. I think I've added $1 to them or something. But they're about 16 or 17 bucks for a really good quality shirt. You can help promote our product, and that would be great. I definitely want to be doing this the rest of my life. That's definitely the goal here. And hoping you guys help me get there. Thanks so much. Send me some emails. Let me know your experience. Really appreciate them. And call me anytime. The number's on the website. Call me anytime if you want to have any questions answered about application and converting from whatever you're using now to our product. It's very simple. And I'll leave a link to the application video, as always, on every video. I try to have it on there, which really explains it in 10 minutes, how to do this. Thanks a lot, guys. Chainwax Podcast.